This work of writing contains adult subject matter, adult language, and topics that some may find emotionally disturbing and/or triggering. Discretion is advised. This piece of writing is the intellectual property of Shyla Brooks and is copyright protected under U.S. and international copyright laws. Reproduction and distribution of this written work without written permission by the named author is prohibited. Copyright 2023, Brooks, all rights reserved. Found Girl by Shyla Brooks. This writing is dedicated to all of those lost children who have lived in this world without knowing they're special. There is a girl, normal looking, average and boring in every way. What is more boring than straight brown hair and brown eyes? At least this is what she believed, because no one would listen to her or be her friend. She had people who she thought were her friends, but they made fun of her, mocked her very existence. They would laugh at her expense and would always leave her alone, speechless, not understanding what she had done wrong. No matter what the girl tried, she could not fit in, even laughing at the mean, cruel jokes people made about her. Inside, her heart being crushed piece by piece. She wanted to play the same game everyone else was playing. She spent hours, weeks, months, and years watching and learning the rules of the game so she could finally ask to join in the fun game one day. The girl, she followed the rules perfectly. She believed if she could perfectly play the game, then maybe someone would finally accept her and let her join in the game. Sadly, in her striving to be perfect, the more she felt like she did not belong. She felt like an alien stranded on a planet with other beings who looked like her, but they somehow knew she was the true alien. The young girl grew and she grew until one day she was no longer a child, but had grown into an adult. And she kept following the rules of the game and yet still not accepted, still not getting it. She had no friends, no one who understood her. Even now, as an adult, working an adult job and having adult bills and responsibilities, the girl felt so lonely. Her loneliness as a child only became more suffocating as the years flew by and the older she became. Still, she kept striving for perfection. Maybe one day she too would be allowed to play the game. Maybe one day I'll have a friend who will love me for me, she thought longingly. The girl always felt as if she was missing something, like a page of the rule book was deliberately being withheld from her. Everyone else knew the secret to play the game, but they would not tell her. The girl knew she did not understand, but remained hopeful. If she worked harder, she could crack the code and finally be accepted. Quite often, people would interrupt her while she talked, but when she interrupted, the same as them, they would get mad and yell at her, saying she was rude. Slowly, the girl stopped talking and just listened, hoping to figure out the secret to be a part of the social fun, the social game. She would muster the courage to finally speak, and again would not say it right, or people would not let her finish before they would tell her she was wrong yet again. No one took the time to listen to what the girl had to say. It would take her much longer than the others to collect her thoughts to speak. So much effort to speak. She would try to speak, and people would just yell at her, "You don't understand!" Yet never tell her what she was not understanding or what she was missing. "You should just know," is what the looks on their faces showed, or the indirect words they used to stab her. The girl came close to giving up, ending her efforts in learning the game. Tired, so tired of not being allowed to speak, not being acknowledged, not being heard, not being seen. She felt like a ghost, walking among mortals, but no one paying her any attention, walking through her as if she was a translucent shell of the ghost she became. She cried, She cried until the pain became too great, and she began to hit herself, to inflict physical pain to stop the emotional pain, because she was an utter failure and fuck up. No matter what she did, she always felt like a fuck up and would never get it right. She didn't deserve to take up space anymore. Seeking help, you do what the game says you do. You go to a doctor. They're there to help you, right? Surely a doctor will know what is wrong with me, the girl thought. Each doctor said the same thing. It's all in your head. There's nothing wrong with you. You're tired? There's nothing physically wrong with you. It's in your head. You're fatigued? There's nothing physically wrong with you. It's in your head. You are in pain? There's nothing physically wrong with you. It's in your head. You feel depressed? There's nothing physically wrong with you. It's in your head. Here, take this pill. You feel anxiety? There's nothing physically wrong with you. It's in your head. Here, take this pill. Each time, the girl lost more hope. Her hope and her will to live on this planet slowly being eroded away, rumbling into rubble. Despite her struggles, she did not give up. She researched anything and everything looking for answers. All she wanted was an answer. What am I missing? She constantly asked, seeking a reason to stay in this world, desperately wanting to cling to life, but each day feeling death's grip squeezing her heart in his cold, icy hands, telling her to just end it, to end her suffering, to end her struggles. You're tired, Death said. If you end it, you can sleep for eternity. The darkness grew in her heart, slowly consuming the child now living in an adult body. Then, out of desperation, the child, sealed away inside of the adult body, had to confront the thing she suspected, but had been too scared to face. The monster keeping her held prisoner, the monster who kept forcing her to play the game. It was her last chance, her final attempt to break free or perish inside the aged shell of the adult body surrounding her. The child trapped in the adult body, feeling strong enough to finally be strong enough to confront the monster. Her last chance to prove to herself she deserved to take up space, to prove she deserved to remain on this planet, to prove she deserved to finally be set free of the monster keeping her imprisoned inside the adult body. The monster forcing her to keep playing the game. She had avoided facing the monster. Surely she can't be. The child, trapped in the body, now feeling like an empowered woman, picked up her phone. The more she researched, the more she began to understand the monster. The woman dialed the number, understanding why she could not fit in. The phone rang, and the pleasant voice of the receptionist greeted the woman, the puzzle pieces falling into place because she finally could see part of the picture, why everyone always rejected her. The time set. The girl sat through painful interviews, tiring questionnaires, and grueling tests, appointment after appointment. So many appointments. Will they ever end? Then the day came. The results were in. The girl looked at the plump, tired-looking woman sitting across the old stained plastic table. The woman had a kind and compassionate look. The room looked dingy with dingy furniture. The girl could hear the humming of the electricity from the panel behind the woman, like the monster somehow would crash through the electrical panel at any moment and finally consume the child trapped in the adult body. The monster somehow following her everywhere she went. You are autistic, the woman said. The monster gave one final loud growl and slinked away. It had been named, so it lost all its power. It knew it could no longer keep forcing the girl to play the game. The girl felt the tears well up into her eyes as death's grip around her heart began to loosen. She buried her head in her hands and cried. At least now she knew what was wrong with her. There was nothing wrong with her. She had a different brain than everyone else. After the tears dried up, she took a deep breath and felt the weight fall from her shoulders. Regardless of the painful emotions she felt at that moment, she knew she deserved to be here and to take up space. In that moment, she felt free. She felt release. No longer would she toil to join in and play the game with people who don't respect different brains. No longer would she play a game that was not meant for her. Yes, the girl's brain was different, and that's okay. The monster finally silenced. The girl is learning to accept herself, and she'll start living her life for herself and do what makes her happy. She has no interest anymore in learning the rules of the game. The girl will find other brains like hers or similar, and they'll work to create a world with people who have different brains, and they'll make their own game together. Brains that are as unique and as beautiful as hers. Brains that are unique and as beautiful as my own. This short story is dedicated to all the lost boys and girls out there in the world. Thank you for listening to my story.